Live crowd. Live crowd. We don't need no stinking live crowd.
No takeover, no problem. This is NXT.
"2020, I am your host, the Rated R Reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General, Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans, or good evening, whatever time it is. Time is a construct now.
So if you've noticed, I am much more excited than you expected me to be, and this show tonight was much more exciting than I expected it to be. We knew it was going to have no crowd, but we also knew, unlike last week, we were going to get some matches.
Yes.
We were announced 3, we got 6. Or 7.
We have 7 matches.
7 matches, 1 or 2 in-ring, 2 in-ring, like, we got a full card.
Yep.
You sure we got 7 matches?
We have 7 matches.
Holy balls, Derek. Forgot to... We start the show with a small recap. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, has gone too far. And we are going to end the show by sandwiching this whole thing. Triple H is going to be here, and he is going to address Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
He's going to address the situation.
The situation.
Yeah,
it doesn't say he's going to address them, but newsflash, he's going to address them.
Yes.
In fact, he's going to attempt to, and they are going, well, at least Tommaso. Anyway, we'll get there. We have a whole show, ladies and gentlemen. We start with an announcement. Takeover Tampa, of course, is not going to happen, but we had an announcement via ESPN, I think they said
Sports Illustrated.
Somewhere they announced that the Takeover Tampa matches are now going to take place on NXT television over the next several weeks. So instead of one takeover, we're going to get a bunch of main events.
Yep. Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
If you get takeover caliber matches as main events, that's great.
Yeah. It's all good. It's not in front of a crowd, but as it turns out, doesn't seem to matter too much.
No, it doesn't.
Our first match of the night is Austin Theory versus Tyler Breeze.
And this sets the tone.
What I like about this match is there is a spot in this match that actually uses to their advantage the fact that there's no crowd there to make noise over top of them. In this environment, we can actually hear the wrestlers talking to each other. And instead of talking just the general smack that they normally would, that is all they need to do, to get a crowd to chant for them or against them or whatever while they're in a match. This way, they can actually have, sort of conversations and make it work within the match. And in this case, it's the end of the match. This is what sees Austin Theory lose. He gets the upper hand, and he decides to go over and pick up the cell phone of Tyler Breeze and start taking a selfie video of him being on top in the match and getting ready to finish off Tyler Breeze. And he starts talking to Tyler Breeze, and you can hear all this, and he's like, "Yeah, Tyler Breeze, how does it feel? You said I was a flash in the pan, and now I'm about to beat you," kind of thing.
Yep. He just wanted to record him beating Tyler Breeze.
And so, the People's Wrestling Channel is here. How's it going? We also have David Wasco. How's it going, David? Thank you for joining us. We are talking about NXT, and I was impressed by this show. Not only, like I said, that they could do something different where they could talk to each other in the ring, and we can hear them, and it adds a different dynamic.
It was just a well laid out match.
Yeah, I've got Theory hitting a Rolling Thunder blockbuster that was just
beautiful,
pretty sweet looking.
He does a lot of rolling moves, but that's really cool because he does with the roll what Chris Hero / Cash Stone does with a cravat.
He also catches Tyler Breeze, who jumps out of the corner backwards, kind of senton-like, but he catches him in midair in a torture rack and hits him with a Blue Thunder Bomb for a near fall.
In theory, that should have put him away.
Yeah, in theory.
Austin Theory.
Let's see. He hits a buckle bomb on Breeze, who counters another Rolling Thunder attempt that he does coming off the apron through the ropes. He counters that with a supermodel kick and also gets a near fall.
Barely grazed him.
He goes up top, and Theory knocks the ropes to knock him off the top rope, and he's up in the corner, and Theory just goes over there and pulls him off the corner and hits him with an Ushigoroshi. Gets a near fall. There's only one person in the entire WWE world that gets a pinfall off of an Ushigoroshi.
Nina Samuels.
Yeah, that's the Nina Goroshi.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, let's see. Theory picks up Breeze's phone, and this is where he starts doing the smack talking, and picks him up for the TKO one-armed. And we know he can do this because didn't we see a match where he got his arm worked over?
Yeah.
And he still hit the TKO?
It was last week, I believe.
Last week. So we should have the name of the move some fucking where.
I think it's just called a TKO.
No, it wasn't last week. It had to have been the week before. Last week we didn't get shit. We got all of Jack Dick last week. We were so pissed about last week. If you guys want to know about that, watch the show from last week.
Oh, it was Theory versus Ciampa.
Oh. So he can try to hit it, but
he attempted to.
So anyway.
Actually, I think he did hit it, but Ciampa kicked out of it.
That's probably what happened. Anyway, he attempts it, but Tyler Breeze squirms out and ends up hitting that, what's it called? The model misbehavior. I don't know. Pull a name out of midair. Oh, I was on the wrong page.
That's probably
that would be right. Why? He hits the beauty shot for the pinfall. I was kind of hoping that Austin Theory would get a win here. They need to build up some new stars. But that's not how you do it.
Same time, like, at this point, there's really nothing to prove at this point. I think they're trying to actually build up Tyler Breeze again a little bit. So maybe a quick win over Austin Theory was good. But at the same time, it also shows that Austin Theory could start a rivalry real quick, make it kind of matter, and then just lose.
Or maybe this is just the start of the rivalry.
I'd be happy with that,
because Austin Theory is a sore loser. Meanwhile, Killian Dane versus... Okay.
Tahuti Miles.
Tahuti Fruity Miles. And this was a squash match.
Mm-hmm.
He got a little bit of dodging, maybe a little bit of weak offense, but for the most part, this was a squash match.
Tahuti Miles was kind of like the Flavor Aid of Isaiah Swerve Scott. If you want to go ahead and go with that.
You said he looked like an R&B...
early 90s R&B star.
Yeah, they made mention that he is former military, and of course they did. They always do.
They have to.
He's out there.
That's what makes him credible, I guess.
He's out there with these camouflage suspender... what do you call that?
Overalls?
There you go, overalls. Camouflage overalls. And I said, hey, we could see you. He's got this stark white jacket on, matching white boots. And it's like, yeah,
that defeats the purpose.
A 90s R&B star. Anyway.
Although he had poses and everything down. He might as well just pose when he froze in front of album cover.
He takes a wasteland towards the corner, followed by a running senton right into the Vader bomb. 1, 2, 3. Killian Dane wins the match. As soon as Tahuti Miles came out, I went ahead and underlined Killian Dane. I was like, yeah, this guy's not being Killian Dane.
I was about to say, it's a good thing Jordan's not here anymore, because that would have been kind of awkward.
His brother from another mother. But the same father, that's why they have the same last name. Cameron Grimes versus...
No, because Jordan Miles is Y, and like this guy's I.
One of their mothers was ashamed of it, so she changed the I to... I don't know.
Or that's just sometimes how she has her
name. If he had still been there, then Tahuti Miles would have had a Y.
Yeah.
And they would have been.
As in, why is your name Tahuti?
Cameron Grimes versus Tony Nese. We haven't seen Tony Nese on NXT in a while. He was hyped. I was like, it's Tony Nese. It's Tony Nese. Like, what's he gonna do? Wow me to death. Like, he doesn't do that. He wows me about as much as Drew Gulak does with anybody that's not Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Like, and this was an okay match.
It was a Cameron Grimes match.
I have no notes. Tony goes for that Tony's knees, and Cameron Grimes counters. Now, he doesn't counter... He gets up while Tony's running off the ropes, and he clotheslines him, and I'm like, dude, he should have just hit the cave-in. And immediately after I said that, he throws Tony Nese off the ropes and hits the cave-in.
I don't know. I think if he nailed him with anything other than a clothesline, it should have been a collision course.
Dude, nothing. Well, yeah, that would have been cool, but they're too close to the ropes. I'd be afraid.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid of a shoulder catching, and then suddenly that flip turns into a weird carnival move.
A carnival move? How the guy looks like a Carnival Barker? Surely you jest.
Anyway, yeah, Cameron Grimes gets the win, and sure, I mean, because Cameron Grimes is NXT, Tony Nese is technically 205.
He had a really great showing against Keith Lee, so it's cool for him to get a win back.
Yeah, get a little bit of momentum back.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with this. And we move on.
Do you think this actually could signify him going to 205 for a little bit and possibly go for the cruiserweight?
Is he in the weight class? If he's in the weight class, I don't see why not. At this point, I am super in favor of people visiting other brands from NXT because that opens up, hopefully, people from those brands visiting NXT and changing the shit up. I think NXT is the most versatile brand right now because it is the hub between the lower system, the farm system, where you have NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live, because that is now an NXT brand, because the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. But it's also the hub between that and between WWE's Raw and SmackDown. And because you see fucking Finn Balor came back, Charlotte Flair's made some visits, you know, like...
Because granted, I know they're both heels and all, but I would love to see Devlin versus Cameron Grimes.
So you know that idea I had about them interviewing Rhea Ripley at the end of last week's episode on set, and then Charlotte Flair coming out and attacking her?
Yeah.
So they were interviewing, who was it? Shayna Baszler, in much the same exactly in the ring. Lights were out. They were in seats, and Becky Lynch attacked her with a chair. I'm not saying they watched the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying
somebody is.
I'm just saying. Okay, this is a good time to mention this as any. What I noticed at the very beginning of this show, when who was it? Austin Theory came out. It might have been Tyler Breeze. It was sometime where there were some lights going. There is a thick black curtain covering the walls of the entire performance center, and of course, all of the chairs and the bleachers are gone.
Everything's gone.
Now, I knew that from watching Raw, that they had gotten rid of those. They still had them on SmackDown. On Raw, they were gone, and they had those Smalltrons intermittently placed around the border to kind of accentuate what was going on, the kind of graphics that they would put on the corner posts of the ring. Those are gone. It is just black curtains covering something. Is it a bunch of Trons all covering all the walls?
That'd be pretty sweet.
Is that what it is? Did they listen to me? Are they going to put real fans' reactions up on the Tron so that we can see and hear fans react to the show?
That would be sick, especially if they had, like, you know, live remotes from these different places. But
you know what? I would argue that maybe they didn't watch this show, because the first time I mentioned that play-ad or possible play-ad was on Aaron's show. Maybe they watched
the debate, or was it the No DQ review?
I think it was the No DQ review.
Yeah.
So anyway, I noticed that. Just saying. Meanwhile, we get a video cap. 4 months ago, Xia Li breaks Aaliyah's nose.
That was a bad moment.
They show the end of the match, that pinwheel kick that she does that like smacks her in the head, plants her in the mat, and breaks her fucking nose. Then they show her in the back crying about it, just wanting to go home. And I'm like, you are a grown adult, ma'am. You are a grown adult.
She's also a Canadian that wrestles, and she wasn't going to be able to, so.
Yeah, she's returning. And she is in the next qualifying match for the 6-woman ladder match that is going to determine the #1 contendership for the NXT Women's Championship. And she is supposed to face...
the face kicker herself, Xia Li.
Yeah. She comes out, Aaliyah that is, and we're waiting on Xia Li. We get her annoying-ass music that only makes sense when she comes out and starts, like, smacking herself with those karate poses. I'm sure it's probably not karate. I'm sure it's something else, but that's the word I used. I'm watching too much Community. Anyway, she is laid the fuck out in the back. Her leg was taken out from under her. We don't get any words about who it was. The ref or whoever it was that was tending to her was asking her what happened.
Probably Vanessa Bourne.
She only speaks Chinese, folks. Even if she told him, he wouldn't understand. Maybe the name, unless she says it's super weird. Anyway, we're not going to get Xia Li, folks. The announcer, who is Craig Hamilton, the guy from SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
We love him.
Superb.
He announces that she is not going to be medically cleared for the match, but there
is
somebody here that is medically cleared. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Io Shirai. Io Shirai is back. Cheers to Io Shirai.
I'll just point out she's on my cup.
I don't care.
She's on my cup that I got from Toronto.
I saw a cup up and I figured Io Shirai returning deserves a cheers.
Absolutely. After this, like after she showed up, any hope of Aaliyah winning the match was just fucking gone. that music hit, the strobe hit, it was just great.
Okay,
it was a great return moment, and the crowd would have gone ape shit for at least the opening of this match. Like Aaliyah come back, I think warranted at least a welcome back chant. But Io Shirai's music hitting, place would have just erupted.
That would have been the biggest pop of the night, easily. If that tips you off to the quality of the rest of the night, don't let it fool you. The quality is still there.
Yeah.
There just wasn't any big of a pop.
There wasn't any more shock value. The rest of the matches were solid.
Now, I don't know about that. Let's get through this match real quick, and then there is some shock, but really positive shock.
Mm-hmm.
I have the finish of this match: a double arm back underhook backbreaker. And then a moonsault off the top for the pinfall. That's, of course, by Io Shirai. Because
Aaliyah didn't really get much offense in. She really didn't. And she seems like still kind of ginger in the ring and was really protective of herself. So I'm thinking she's not all the way back in, but I'm glad she's actually at least back.
4 months, she had to have broken something other than her nose. Because, when was the last time you remember a wrestler being out for too long with a broken nose instead of just coming back with the face guard?
It's either that or just had nothing for her at this point.
Or maybe she took the opportunity to go get a nose job. I think that's what happened. Because look at her now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think with a nose job, you probably need some healing time for that.
Yeah, like pretty much any kind of rhinoplasty.
Cartilage to grow into each other. Anyway, so I am pleasantly surprised by the next bit. It is a little bit creepy, but very simple. And we get to see a face here, Dexter Lumis.
We haven't seen him in forever. A lot of people don't know who Dexter Lumis is. He used to be Sam Shaw in TNA Impact Wrestling, and he was in the breakout tournament, losing in the first round.
Yes, but we really dug this guy.
We dug him because he's just super creepy, and if he does have a first match, chances are we're thinking it'll probably be against Bugenhagen, and he will beat Bugenhagen.
If you want to get some serious heat with the NXT crowd, if by then we have an NXT crowd, beating Bugenhagen would be the way to do it.
Beating Bugenhagen.
Because we haven't seen Bugenhagen in like 9 months.
We saw him in that one match, and it was awesome. And then we saw him like do the air guitar like encore with that one chick.
Everything was great about that, down to Caleb Braxton's very orange, very small dress.
Mm-hmm. That's going to stick with him forever.
Absolutely. Woo woo, Keith Lee! Woo woo, Keith Lee!
No Bastion of Glory chant. No Keith Lee whoop whoop chant. No
he gets
nothing.
a chant from me, by damn it.
Yep. It's impossible not to chant for Keith Lee.
For an interview with a new guy. We get some new guys. We get this show was surprisingly out of nowhere.
This guy actually does all the interviews for NXT exclusives on YouTube.
His name is, let me get this right, John Twasco. Why anybody gets on TV with a name that starts with a TWA? I don't care what it ends with. Anything that starts with a twa, you're just begging for it, man.
Yeah.
You're begging so hard that you're not even going to get it from me because I think it's cheap. Keith Lee says that he owes Dominik Dijakovic an apology, and Dominik Dijakovic comes out and says he doesn't give a damn about Keith Lee's apology because he did attack him. But honestly, all he cares about is the NA title. Speaking of the NA title, out comes
Damian Priest.
who likewise only cares about the NA title, but not to satisfy some craving he's got.
He doesn't want to impress his family or put food on the table or anything. He wants fame. He wants chicks. He wants money. He wants his legacy.
And he wants to take Keith Lee's legs out from under him. Mm-hmm. I think something like that. So he gets out his nightstick, his attack stick, the thing that like springs out, telescopes out.
The priest pole.
And he charges the ring, and he goes to get in, and Keith Lee wants a piece of him, but Dijakovic throws Keith Lee to the side and starts beating on Priest. Then Keith Lee gets up and throws Dijakovic off, and then knocks Priest down to the outside, chases him outside, and then goddamn Dijakovic with my favorite spot of the night. He springboards. He doesn't jump over. He springboards off of the top rope and does a front flip senton into both Damian Priest and Keith Lee.
Completely
on the outside. That was great.
Yes. That would have warranted a holy shit chant.
And now we were promised Adam Cole, because last week we were supposed to get Adam Cole's championship celebration, where he finally broke the record set by Finn Balor and became the longest reigning single-time NXT champion of all time. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get that celebration last week. Mm-hmm. This week he gets his own celebration. He is somewhere in paradise, probably
backyard Panama.
Panama City, maybe. Mm-hmm. Panama City Beach, Florida. Mm-hmm. Is that where it is?
Yep.
He's somewhere, and I feel like if he's in Florida, he could have showed up. Unless he's in like Panama.
It's like they're this far away.
Anyway, he says he was the first ever War Games winner. He was the first ever North American champion. He is now the longest reigning NXT champion.
The Velveteen Dream doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah, he hasn't earned shit.
No.
But he has a proposition for him. He is going to let him fight Bobby Fish. And
Fryer himself.
If he can beat Bobby Fish, he'll think about it. Something like that.
Yeah.
Just fill in some time before we get the NXT Championship match.
Probably in 3 weeks.
Probably in 3 weeks. So that's basically what we get from him. And that's undisputed. Mm-hmm. Along with the pose. No boom, I don't think.
No boom.
No boom.
No boom. The boom is reserved for later.
We get a tag match. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch come out, and they have a new shirt that is awful.
God awful.
It is awful. It says.
It looked like it was put together with yellow duct tape.
Wait, what does it say? 1, 2.
1, 2 rules. It looks like the old Hulk Hogan Hulk rules shirt.
It's super big blocky letters in yellow, and they're so close together that you can't distinguish the R, U, and then the bar for the L all kind of roll together.
So it's like
it's 1, 2 yes. Less. You know it ends with a less. Anyway, just saying their shirts suck. But
it blew.
They're facing Shane Thorne, who thought he had escaped the tag team division.
No, we found another Australian to saddle you up with.
A big guy, big tall dude named Brendan
Vink.
Brendan Vink.
I liked him.
I don't like the name.
That's the whole idea. You're supposed to hate the name and hate the guy. I like him.
Yeah, he was super cocky.
Yep.
But he
arrogant as hell.
He still tapped.
Yeah.
Actually, they both tapped.
They both tapped out. Yeah.
I'm not even sure which one was legal to tap.
Vink was, because I called for Shane Thorne to eat the pinfall, but then Vink ended up tapping out to Burch.
I did see one move out of Vink I liked, and I think we agree. He was in the corner, and much like Samoa Joe, caught somebody running in with Uranagi.
Oney Lorcan, I think he caught.
His special part of this his unique part of this was all the torque he put into it. Yeah. He held him up in the air for a good minute, and the whole time he was moving. It was like he was bringing him back just enough to slam him down.
Yeah, it was great looking.
Pretty awesome looking, but
didn't really matter.
Lorcan and Burch come back. Burch hits this wicked cutter, very close to a diamond cutter.
Yeah,
very close. Looked great. And he doesn't get a pinfall off of it, but eventually he works somebody down into a crossface, And then the other guy comes in. Thorne comes in to break it up.
Oh, he got Vink down into a crossface. Then Lorcan ended up catching Shane Thorne with the single crab.
Leg crab, and they both tapped out.
How is it that 2 submission moves are better than their actual finishing move?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, we are not fans of their finishing move.
I like the fact that they call that the 1-2 punch if they wanted
Isn't
to.
that Danny Lorcan, or no, Danny Burch's actual finishing move?
Yeah, just the draping DDT.
He does a draping DDT off the top rope, and instead of the top rope, he does it off of Lorcan's shoulders.
Yeah. Nothing.
Ta-da! Tag team move! It is the same move, it's just closer to the middle of the ring.
They needed an actual better tag team finisher, but if they're going to be using the double submissions, I think that's really cool too.
No, because they're derivative. You have the crossface, which has been demoted to a basic finishing move that anybody can use because it will never be a finisher like Chris Benoit had it.
Shush! We don't say that name.
And the single leg crab is about the weakest of any leg move I can think of. Any leg submission that I can think of.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because it's like the only move you can do to one leg. And other than variations of it, like over the ropes and shit.
I was about to say, like, the only way to actually make the single leg crab look even more powerful is just to turn it into an STF.
The only other leg moves aren't ones where you, like, turn them over. Their legs like a knee bar or a leg bar or an ankle bar or a heel hook. And those look like they hurt like a son of a bitch because you're talking about tweaking a leg in a direction it doesn't go. Mm-hmm. Whereas a single leg crab turns a leg in exactly the direction it's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, enough waxing specific. Let's move on to Candice LeRae versus Kayden Carter. This is the 5th of the 6 matches that are going to determine the 6 ladies that participate in the ladder match to determine the number 1 contendership for the NXT Women's Championship. That is going to happen in 2 weeks, yes. Candice LeRae wasn't going to lose this match. We've seen Kayden Carter pick up a win or two lately, but not against Candice LeRae. Come on. If it was against a heel, I could see her picking up a surprise victory, but not against a babyface like Candice LeRae.
I actually thought Carter was actually going to pull it off, and I thought LeRae was actually going to put her over, but I guess we're not going to get that, especially since like almost everything between Gargano and Ciampa has more or less been scrapped, and now she's probably not going to play a factor in the match at all between those two. So
I've got Candice LeRae getting caught with a boot to the face. She's like propped up on the bottom rope. I guess that's Kayden Carter's finishing move, but she didn't get a 1-2-3 out of it. Instead, Candice gets back on top. She goes for the lion salt, misses, but still somehow works Kayden down to the mat with a Gargano escape.
The Hurts donut.
Which I guess she can use, and she can call it that, because technically speaking...
She is a Gargano.
Yeah, technically speaking, she's a Gargano. So there you go. She gets the tap-out victory and moves on to the ladder match, which at this point we find out that, yes, that is going to happen in 2 weeks' time. Meanwhile, Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong, and for all practical purposes, this is the main event match. Really strong match.
Like, we already knew it was going to be great because... two reasons in general. One, Matt Riddle's in it, and number 2,
Roderick Strong is in it.
Roderick Strong is in it. And we've already seen these two square off before, and that was a terrific match. But this time around, there was like no audience to feed off of, which was still kind of weird. But at the same time, when you have like 2 guys like this and Matt Riddle fist bumping the crowd like they're still there, that was kind of weird.
By this point, I had realized that it wasn't as awkward at this point watching the show without the crowd as it was at the beginning, or I thought it was going to be for the entirety of the show.
If anything, it was less obnoxious.
Sometimes it can be that way, especially watching NXT UK. Problem is, for the next few weeks on NXT UK, we are still going to have a crowd.
Yep.
So the one show, it's like, yeah, let's get rid of the crowd for a few weeks. It's like, nope. Sorry about your luck. I like this match. This was nice. I was going to mention Riddle fist bumping the invisible people on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
He was having a lot of fun coming to the ring.
Yep. It's almost like he was so high that he forgot.
But then he gets in the ring and he hits moves like that fucking go to sleep into the instant bridging German suplex.
Oh.
For the near fall.
Very, very seldomly do I tell Stefan, just go ahead and back that up and let's watch it again. But that's exactly what I did for that, because it's so crisp and so flowing and so great.
But Strong hits his own 1-2 punch. He hits that running knee into the corner, that high knee, and then straight into an Olympic slam, near fall.
These two know each other so well from like their brief feud that this match was just a bunch of back and forth, but it didn't really let up at all.
There was a bunch of rolling through that Matt Riddle was putting Roderick Strong through, and then had him set up for the power bomb. And almost hit it. And I was like, that would have been awesome, because as soon as he hits the power bomb, he would have had to roll him through again for that other flash knee strike. But Strong got out of the power bomb. These guys know each other pretty well. Eventually, Strong starts going for those running forearms that he does while his opponent's trapped in the middle of the rope.
He nails 2 of them.
On the third one, Matt Riddle ducks, kind of lifts him up over his shoulder, and then somehow
flips it into the Bo Derek.
Bro Derek. 1, 2,
yeah.
3. Matt Riddle with the victory in sort of the main event.
But that doesn't stop there.
No, we still have a big segment coming up because we were promised Triple H to come out and address the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano
Not
situation.
even that. Matt Riddle got fucking beat up at the end of this match.
Well, we were going to get there.
Well, it sounds like you're going right to Ciampa and Gargano.
No, we still have that to get through, and then a few announcements.
Oh yeah,
as well.
the announcements for the other matches. Yeah.
So let's get to the aftermatch. So Riddle is celebrating, and these two
big
giant
Samoans.
They look like some kind of islander.
Yeah.
Samoan, maybe. I doubt it.
Polynesian?
Maybe. Something. But they're wearing skirts.
They are huge.
But I would not make fun of these guys for wearing said skirts.
Mm-mm.
They're
very reminiscent to me of the head shrinkers back in the day.
They start beating up on Riddle, who does get some offense back. He starts like kicking them, but then they take it back. They hit some move, and then they hit. Well, we've seen this before. An elbow drop across Matt Riddle, who is laying over the other guy's knee.
I think that was Demolition's old finishing move back in the late 80s.
Well, whatever it was, they demolished Matt Riddle. And then a gentleman who introduces himself as Malcolm Bivens comes out, and he says he would like to introduce one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions to the future of the NXT Tag Team division.
Which is weird, because when you introduce somebody, usually you say their names.
Yeah, who the fuck are these guys?
Do
they have individual names? Do they have a collective name? Are they just the future? I would love that. The future.
That actually, maybe that is their name.
It is now, because somebody's watching this shit.
Somebody's watching this shit, and they're going to name the future, and we're going to be like, oh, man.
So next week, we are going to get that match, Velveteen Dream versus Bobby Fish. I guess Adam Cole's got some strings that he pulled. Probably belong to William Regal's nutsack. Anyway, we're going to get that match next week, and we are going to get a second chance gauntlet match for the 6th spot in the number 1 contenders ladder match for the NXT Women's Championship. That is a long fucking phrase.
So when you say when we think gauntlet match, are we going to think these two people start off the match and one gets pinned and another one runs in, or are we going to?
That's a gauntlet match.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So the 6, and we have 6 because you got to remember Xia Li got taken out of the match tonight as well. So we have 6 participants: Xia Li, Deonna Purrazzo, Dakota Kai, Aaliyah, Caden Carter, and Shotzi Blackheart. And the only one we can think that should move on is Dakota Kai.
Because Ripley versus Kai after WrestleMania sound like it's going to be the next one, especially with Raquel Gonzalez in the mix.
Yeah, do it now.
Yep.
Do it now. Also, next week we are going to get Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic versus Damian Priest. Triple threat match for the North American Championship. Mind blown.
We're getting 3 awesome matches right there. They could just make those matches, and I'd be okay with that. The gauntlet match itself is probably going to take about a half hour,
if not longer.
Yeah,
and if then they do it right.
Then you have the triple threat match, which if they do that right, that's going to be about a half hour as well. So we may just get these 3 matches.
Who knows? Who knows? Meanwhile, we are on to the physical main event, although it was to be not physical.
Yeah.
Triple H comes out, and he is here to address Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, a saga that has gone on forever. It is the greatest rivalry in wrestling, blah, 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 blah.
I was about to say,
He talks too much, and
rewards.
Tommaso Ciampa agrees. He comes out
within first 5 minutes.
And first
3 minutes, minute and a half.
Like, he
2
comes
minutes.
out and he's like, look, everything that could and should be said about me and Johnny has
already been said
and done, and it is time for it to end. And Triple H agrees, and he says, look, get that chicken shit out here. And Triple H says, okay, we're going to bring him out, but there will be no physicality. Do not touch him.
The second you guys touch each other, it's all over.
Gargano comes out to no music, and he wants to hang around on the stage because he knows better. But Triple H says, I'm telling you, there will be no physicality. Get in the ring, boy. Get in the ring. And he tells Ciampa, don't touch him. And Johnny Gargano repeats, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Triple H wants to make this a Mania match. You can tell by his language. He says that this deserves to be on the biggest stage possible. But Gargano and Ciampa don't agree. They said it just needs to end. All they need is a ring and a ref.
Yep.
And so Triple H decides he's just going to find a building somewhere. We don't know where it's going to be. I think this might be the fun part of the match. He says this is where it ends, and it better end, because if it were up to Regal, after the damage they did to the building in the Performance Center last week, or the week before,
they'd both be fired.
They'd both be fired. Triple H stepped in, and he said, after this, if this isn't over, neither one of you will be welcomed here, and NXT will move on without you.
Which could be an easy exit for them to both be moved to either Raw or SmackDown.
No, Ciampa's either going to stay or he's going to become a producer on NXT.
Yeah, I would think that.
He's already said that he's not planning on going to Raw or SmackDown because he has a longer longevity in NXT.
Yeah, that and I could see him going to Performance Center, like worst case scenario, and just being a trainer there. And Gargano keep on going.
So Ciampa says some words to Gargano, something to the effect of he will move on in NXT without Johnny, and then Johnny's saying, you know, he's going to move on because he's going to prove that he's better than Tommaso Ciampa.
It's like at wrestling, at life, at everything.
Yeah, he said he's going to prove to Ciampa that he is who he's always told him he was, the monster that everyone says he was.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, no Finn Balor. Just thought I'd mention him so we could bring up the picture.
Yep.
Enjoy, people. Yep. Also, that brings us to the end of the main event. There was a choice between rating the last match and this as the main event. I think either or was just as good as the other.
Yep.
Let's rate both. Let's just tag them together. This was a pretty okay show compared to what we thought we were going to get. So, holy shit and kudos to NXT.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. Jerry, out of 5 stars, where do you rate tonight's main event?
I'm going to go ahead and say 4 1/4.
Wow.
Because, the Matt Riddle Roderick Strong match was excellent. And then the aftermatch for it, introducing a new tag team, that way, since Pete Dunne wasn't able to be there, because he's stuck in England because of reasons that we won't talk about.
Little Steve.
Yeah.
Little Steve.
But then we also followed by with
Carino. Oh, excuse me.
And we have Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and Triple H. Triple H was super repetitive, like you had mentioned, but at the same time, the guys pointed across. It went completely different direction than we thought it was going to, because we thought for sure this was going to get turned into a WrestleMania match, which
would be one of the reasons it needs to be 2 nights.
Yeah, that'd be another reason why it'd be 2 nights, but also it would just end that feud perfectly on the grandest stage of it all, which I'm good with that too. But
instead, 2 weeks from now.
4 1/4 just for those 2 things alone, then another quarter just for it being an awesome night with a whole bunch of build going to our anti-takeover. So 4 1/2.
Oh, I don't think I can agree with you for that.
Well, I would expect you to.
I did enjoy the show more than I thought I would without a crowd, but it's still awkward as hell. It's one of those things. It just brings a show down a slight little bit of a level. Every moment is just a slight little bit of a level, not as fun as it should be, because it should be shared with a live crowd that you can hear their reaction, so that at home when you like want to cheer or want to clap or whatever, you don't feel alone. You know?
Yeah.
It's like laughing by yourself. It always seems weird.
It's kind of like sitting in a movie theater by yourself.
It's kind of like sitting in the drum room in the band room while the band is practicing and reading Calvin and Hobbes comics and laughing to yourself, and everybody looks at you like you're weird because you're a single person in the room laughing by yourself.
Are you having a bad high school flashback?
No, that is completely contrived. Completely contrived. I made that up just now. That wasn't me in high school. I'm going to start it at 4 stars because I think for what it was great.
Yeah.
Compared to what I thought we were going to get, I would have to call it great if you throw it all together, the match plus the aftermatch plus the Triple H thing with Gargano and Ciampa. I would have loved to see them at the very end break the no physicality and just start beating each other up and take out Triple H in the process or some shit.
And Triple H shouldn't have pegged them both.
And then next week he'll say, look, I told you no physicality and I was this close to firing you, and I tell you what, one of you's getting fired. One of you leaves NXT. You win the match to stay. Yep. Ciampa wins. He gets to stay. Johnny Gargano goes to the main roster.
That would have been perfect.
So I'm not going to go any higher. Normally I would go that extra quarter because off the back of a great show, but I think giving it 4 from my perspective is generous enough. So I'm going to land it at 4 stars.
You should give it 4 1/4 just off that plancha from the Dijakovic, and you fucking know it.
All right, then I'm going to start it at 3.75, which I think it actually deserves. I don't think it deserves great. I'm going to start it at 3 3/4, give it an extra quarter off of the plancha, and land it at 4 fucking stars. And it should be happy I gave it that. So that brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT. Thank you for joining us. Please join us tomorrow, sometime in the late afternoon, for the NXT party, where we will be reviewing episode 87 of NXT UK. I'm not positive who we're going to have up on the screen.
James Hebert, the Archangel.
That's right. James is back.
Yes.
This should be fun.
That'll be a great one.
So look forward to having James on our show tomorrow, and we would like to have you on in the future. If you'd like to get on the show and help us review a future episode of NXT UK, you can leave a comment down below with an email address or some way we can get a hold of you. Or if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R, both of them, all of them, every last R stands for restricted. You can also find the gentleman on Twitter.
At Gerald _JSJ, my Facebook group Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR.
Exclamation point. Yeah, it's a big exclamation point somehow. Yeah.
Then we also have the Aftermatch Wrestling Facebook group, Aftermatch_Wrestling on Instagram, ran by Colin Andrew, and Aftermatch_Rest.
I think it's just Aftermatch Rest. On Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah.
We take the ling out of wrestling.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Whatever the fuck that means. You can also find us on Patreon at Stefan R. Osborne if you'd like to help the channel. If you don't want to help the channel that way, but you do have a few seconds and you love our show, click the like button. That's over here, underneath me somewhere. And if you like all of our shows, you should probably click the subscribe button, because that will help you get all of our other shows when they come out. And when we go live, if you click that bell icon over there, live like we are now, if you're missing us now and you'd like to see us live in the future, click that bell icon. It will send you a notification and you can watch as we record and ask us questions. But there's nobody asking us questions. Let me back out and see if maybe reloading the chat room.
Nope. No. Just nobody likes us. It's cool, though.
It's cool. We appreciate all the people that are watching after match.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're about.
Yep.
On demand, baby.
We get the views. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, find me on Instagram at osborne.stefan and the gentleman.
At the_gentleman_slaughter.
And I think that's all the plugs.
That's all the plugs.
Help us grow the channel. Share us on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else.
And be sure to support anybody else that's in our...
Yeah, all the links are down there.
Yep, down
there. If you like our other NXT members, help them out. watch their videos, and eat soup.
Yes.
And don't forget the meatloaf. For the gentleman, the General Jerry Slaughter, I'm the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in NXT time.